Hey y'all, the elevator one here, and today I will be doing my first Q&A video. And without further ado, let's get started. First question is from Jessie Boo Bears, and she asks, if Godzilla the King of Monsters, Skull Island, why so cute and cuddly? What? It's a joke question. Her real question is, what made you want to start a YouTube channel? At least back then YouTube, when I first got on YouTube and started watching YouTubers I grew up with, the simplicity of it all really, how at least back then you can get away with, you could just sit in front of a camera that had not very good quality, and you can just yap for about 10 minutes about whatever the topic of your video is. And if you had enough personality, people would like you and your video and your content, and they would keep tabs on your channel with very simple videos. At least for me, with Godzilla YouTubers or wrestling YouTubers I grew up with, except for Grimm's Toy Show, because he was already doing his backyard wrestling GTS stuff. But other YouTubers I would watch, unboxing videos, movie reviews, figure reviews, or just discussion videos with minimal edits, very little cuts. They kept their, they stuttered or tripped over the words. It was endearing in a way, because it just seemed real, you're just talking to a guy who's right in front of you, not in a parasocial way. The person you're watching just seems like a regular guy that you could have a discussion with about whatever he's passionate about, whatever hobbies y'all are sharing. I just like that aspect of it. Nowadays you got Mr. Beastify all your videos for audience retention, because most of your viewers' attention spans have been cooked from TikTok. You gotta have subtitles for every single word you're saying. You gotta have all sorts of crazy stuff happening all the time, or else your viewer gets bored. And that's not really a diss on that type of content. It clearly works, because that's the big thing on YouTube right now, and those are the biggest creators out there. But for me, that's just not my type of content that I like to watch or even produce. Even to this day, YouTubers I watch are just mostly not very overproduced videos that I like. I just find it grounding in a way, just a person or people talking about whatever they're passionate about, and that's kind of what I want to do too. And it was just cool to see there are people out there that were just as, if not more, obsessed with the stuff I was obsessed with, wrestling or Godzilla being the two big ones. So it just seemed cool, it just seemed simple, but at least back then. But I didn't start this channel until 2 years ago, so we were already deep in the Mr. Beast TikTok short format type of era. And now I'm trying to transition more into the content that I grew up with, which I know it's not gonna make me probably the biggest or making me the most money, and I know that. So yeah, the simplicity of it, along with being able to have an outlet to talk about the things or just post about things I like, the compilations that I do now, that's what made me want to start a YouTube channel. Next from Stars and Mars, he asked, if you had to pick one over the other, what would you pick, Godzilla or pro wrestling? This is a great question. I've asked myself this more than I probably should, because I've never been in a scenario where I had to be forced to choose one. I'm weird though in a way where I've had periods of my life where I would like one more than the other. I've been told that's strange. I don't know if any of you are like that. Kind of like phases in a way. I don't know why it took me so long to come up with that. And like I said, I've been told it's weird. I didn't think it was, because I just thought it was kind of normal. I want to do like a compare pros and cons list, or Venn diagram, whatever the hell it's called when you compare things. I don't know. I didn't pay attention in school. With Godzilla, we're in a boom right now. Movies are coming out every 3 or so years, and because of that boom, you get a lot of merch. My problem with it is that I don't really care for that merch, especially the prices. You can get those Bandai Kiryu or Fine Wars Godzilla from Walmart, but they're 4 inches tall for $20, or even those blind box or blind bag mystery minis things, those keychains of the Super 7 Shogun Godzillas. They're $20. It's why would I spend $20 on something that I don't even know what I'm getting, when I could just add 5 or 10 more bucks and get a good scale Bandai figure from Amazon? I don't know what the current obsession is with blind bags, mystery boxes. That's so stupid. Like I said, why would I spend $20 on a blind box when I could just put 5 more and get a 6-inch Bandai figure from eBay or Amazon? That stuff I don't care about. And even when I do go to the occasional comic book store or collectible store, it's the same 5 Bandai figures that came out 3 years ago. So -1, a Kiryu Destroyer, and the Godzilla Evolved and Kong with a glove. I come across Mando sometimes too. So that's kind of my gripe right now. My biggest gripe, at least. Yeah, first world problems. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But for the sake of the question, yeah, it's cool. There's a lot of good merch out there for new fans, but I don't really care for most of it. I'm still dropping hundreds at G-Fest for the vintage stuff. Now in wrestling, my goodness, there's more to pick from. If you don't like WWE, you can watch AEW. If you don't like AEW, you can watch WWE. If you don't like the main promotions, the ones that just name TNA, New Japan, AAA, CMLL, if you don't like any of those, then you have hundreds of indies worldwide that you can tune into, buy their subscriptions on their websites or on YouTube, and most of the times they put out stuff weekly. And if you watch WWE and AEW and TNA and New, if you watch multiple promotions, my god, you get stuff almost every single day. You get to consume so much more content from wrestling than you do Godzilla. Even in Godzilla's current boom, you don't get official Godzilla content every single day. There's no way. And at least with wrestling, if you're a WWE fan, you're eating good with the merch because you got the Mattel figures, you got pretty much t-shirts everywhere you go. But for the sake of the question, you know, comparing those two and just complaining pretty much. Like a Stars and Mars put a gun in my head that, hey bro, you gotta choose one or the other or something's gonna blow your brains out. I will probably choose wrestling. Just on the sole argument that there's more stuff for me to produce out there. And also, this is gonna sound so stupid, but there's been more moments in wrestling that have impacted me and that have carried with me throughout my life. Again, it sounds so stupid. But there's been more meaningful moments from wrestling than I've had from Godzilla. Next, from Ari Lovett, she asked, do you have a wrestler or match that you think is deeply flawed, but yet you really enjoy it? She gives her own answers. In terms of wrestler, she says Eddie Kingston. In terms of match, she says Samoa Joe's the Neck Butcher because there's so many botches in that match. If you look past the scripts in that match, it's still a darn good match. It's because they just beat the piss out of each other. But for me, I don't have a wrestler answer for this question, but I do have a match. Oh my gosh. Seth Rollins was Rey Mysterio eye for an eye match at Extreme Rules 2020. The stipulation is stupid. The ending of this match is stupid. It doesn't make sense because you have to poke out your opponent's eye, right? Yet Rollins pushes Mysterio's face into the stairs, but yet his eye comes out. So like, how does Mysterio's eye come out of his face if he's being pushed into? It's just so stupid. And this is funny out of context for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. Yes, this was an actual match, and in the kayfabe, yes, you had to rip your opponent's eye out, and yeah, Rollins won via pushing Mysterio's eye into the stairs that somehow made it pop out. It's so stupid, even for WWE 2020 standards. It's so dumb. Rollins vomits, but yet. This is my answer to this question because bell to bell, I can't even say bell to bell because the match ends when the eye falls out, but bell to that last part of the match when the eye falls out. The in-ring wrestling is pretty darn good because Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins, they can't have a bad match with each other. They've had bad matches before, sure, but not against each other. No matter how stupid the stipulation of this match was, they still went out there and had a pretty good in-ring wrestling match up until, you know, the ending when they actually played into the stipulation for the result. A different answer for this question too. I know it's not part of your question, but I have an era that is deeply flawed yet I like a lot. WWE in 2020, yes, the product as a whole was crap. The big storylines were crap. The big meaningful angles were crap. But if you look past that and look just at the matches they were putting on, you would come across the occasional gem pretty often, I would say. Like even starting from WrestleMania, Kevin Owens vs Seth Rollins was an amazing match. Drew McIntyre vs Seth Rollins for the title at Money in the Bank, great match. Silly name aside, Randy Orton vs Edge, the greatest match of all time. Nowhere near the greatest match of all time, but it's a pretty darn good match. Matt Riddle vs John Morrison on SmackDown, amazing match. Drew McIntyre vs Randy Orton at SummerSlam, amazing match. That three-way ladder match at Clash of Champions or Night of Champions, whatever they were calling it, great match. The Roman Reigns Jey Uso duology, great match. Bayley vs Shasta Banks inside Hell in a Cell, and then they had like a rematch on SmackDown that was also great. Survivor Series had a lot of good matches on it. The Street Profits vs The New Day, Asuka vs Banks, Reigns vs Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens vs Roman Reigns at TLC. Ricochet vs Mustafa Ali had like a few good matches on Raw, but the one that sticks out to me the most, somewhere in October, Ali does like a backstabber off the middle rope, which is crazy just thinking about it, but yet he actually did it in front of no people. And Matt Riddle and AJ Styles had a great match around the same time in October on Raw too. Yeah, like I said, the big pieces of WWE's product in 2020 was garbage, but the matches itself were pretty good, and that's my main argument. The in-ring product of WWE 2020 will forever be underrated because it's all the dog crap that buried all those great matches. Next from Kristen RC, he asked, has there ever been a period of time where you considered taking a break from AEW wrestling because it was so bad? Honestly, no. The closest thing I've come is what I'm doing right now, and it's not watching WWE anymore. It's mostly watching AEW. But like if AEW didn't exist and WWE was the same as it is right now, I would probably still be watching it. If not, at least like catching the highlights on YouTube, because I was kind of doing that anyways. Even like during the peak Authority era, I still kept watching it because I mean I was like 10 at the time, so I hadn't really like been able to separate good from bad in wrestling yet. So I just kind of consumed everything thinking it was good. But yeah, there's never been a time where I actually considered taking a break full stop, whether from AEW or WWE. Next from Stardust Pressing, what is the single worst match you ever watched? Not so bad as good, but I mean truly terrible. More obscure the better. Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't really have an obscure match answer for this question. Single worst match I've ever watched? Like for me, bad match, if I see a bad match, I kind of forget about it because why would I keep thinking about it? But one that pops into my head is that zombie match, Damian Priest and The Miz. Another one is Billy Gunn with Jay White from Dynamite. But match in recent memory that actually like pissed me off and ruined my mood for a while was Jamie Hayter vs Tony Storm from Double Nothing in 2023, I think. Yes, I know Hayter was injured. I know there were certain circumstances that, you know, tainted into the match they could have had. But if your champion's injured, why would you put it on pay-per-view, hype up a match, her title defense, if it's just gonna be an angle? Because that's all this match was an angle to write her off TV because she had a really bad back injury, I think it was. Like, she did all this work for the women's division to actually make it and the title mean something. And I feel like AEW still never saw her as like the top lady of the roster because he still prioritized Britt Baker and the Outcast over her. She was a background character in that whole program, even though she was the champion. They ended her phenomenal reign, which I still consider probably one of the better women's title reigns behind like Toni Storm's, the timeless ones. They ended her reign in such embarrassing way, at least to me. Hayter herself probably didn't really mind because she probably knew the circumstance. She knew they couldn't go out there and have a match like the Full Gear one, so she probably didn't mind losing the way she did. But as a fan, and how big of a fan I was of her at the time, yeah, this match pretty much ruined her. I still don't think she's ever reached the heights of popularity that she had in 2022, 23, 3 years after the fact. Maybe that's a bit much, but I feel like the effects of that match are still being felt because she's just doing nothing, has done absolutely nothing for 2 years. Whether that is a result of the match or just, Tony Khan's terrible booking of the women's division. Probably more of the latter, to be honest. Maybe it's being dramatic, but yeah, that match it pissed me off so bad. And yeah, I know there was injuries. I know it was more of an angle, but like, why not do this on TV? Because this was your women's world title match on Double or Nothing. This was before they added all those random B pay-per-views that are unnecessary. So like, the next women's title match wasn't until, well, Forbidden Door, but Forbidden Door doesn't really count, until All In London that year. So for 3 months, the latest meaningful women's title match was this dog shit match. They even screwed up the big spot of Toni Storm drop kicking her arm into the stage. They screwed it up. She missed by a mile, and then she did it again. I don't know, man. I don't mean to complain so much, but I don't like, they could have done this angle on TV and then rush like a mini feud with Storm and somebody else, so you can at least get a full length quality women's title match on pay-per-view. Instead you get this crap. I don't know why they thought this had to be on the pay-per-view. For a long time, this would probably be my worst match of all time. I hate to say it because two women, two wrestlers I love so much, but there's just so many other ways you could have done this. Share y'all's thoughts about this. Maybe I'm being over dramatic. Maybe y'all forgot about it, but me, I can't because I love Hayter so much. Last, from Ignis Belmont 09, what's your opinion on something in wrestling that would be controversial? For example, for me, I think Bray Wyatt was overrated. The Fiend gimmick is, damn, that's a pretty hot take. You could put that on my hot take video. The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, two wrestlers that people constantly say are underrated. In my opinion, they're properly rated, if not overrated, because we have thousands of people saying they're underrated. Guess what, guys? They're not underrated anymore because some people love them, and that's good. They deserve all the love in the world because they're good at best. I don't think Dolph Ziggler's ever had like a truly incredible match. He's had good matches. He's had great matches, but he's never had like that match where you have to be like, oh my god, you have to go out your way to see the Dolph Ziggler match. He's never had that. Same thing for the Miz, but even worse. He's not a work rate wrestler. He's just more of a character, more of a talker, which is good, and he's good at that. He's really good at that. But he's also never had that incredible marquee match. He's had good matches, great matches. His match against Rollins at Backlash is great. He had a match against Johnny Gargano on Raw, which was great. I thought his Shane McMahon feud was entertaining. The Dolph Ziggler program in 2016 was good, but apart from those, I can't really name more Miz matches that I would recommend besides those. And then people would defend our underrated argument or saying that the Miz is a GOAT, or they defend those arguments by mentioning the same two damn promos. They're like, oh yeah, with the Miz, he had that one good promo on Talking Smack 10 years ago. Tell me another promo he's done since then that was at least close to reaching the height of that promo. The only one I could think of is the one he did on Roman Reigns and John Cena when he was talking about opportunities and how he deserved his, he was an Intercontinental champion already. Those are two excellent promos. What has he done since then that's even been close to reaching those highs of those promos? Let me know in the comments, Miz fans, because I honestly can't think of any promos he's cut since then that I'd be like, oh my gosh, maybe the Miz is as good as everybody says. Maybe he is a GOAT. Maybe he is one of the greatest of all time. Like, hell no, man. Like, get out of here with that, bro. The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, I would say, toe the line between properly and overrated. Probably more leaning to overrated because so many people mention those two as being the most underrated wrestlers. So many people can say that until it's just not true anymore because he has so much love, right, from these people that they deserve, but that doesn't make them underrated anymore. It doesn't make them, rated. That's my answer to your question, Ignis Belmont 09. And those are my answers to all your questions. I really appreciate y'all posting these questions as quickly as y'all did. The post was up 2 days ago, but y'all had these up in less than 24 hours. And I would have recorded earlier, but I had stuff coming up, so I'm gonna get into it now 2 days later. That's all for me. Thank you all for the engagement. It's truly appreciated. I love it. I love each one of you. I hope to be doing more of these Q&A commentary type videos just because they're more fun for me than just doing clip montages every upload, just because those kind of get old after a while. I run out of ideas, or it's the same topic every month, like the dome drops. I can only have so many dome drop videos before I get bored of making a bit of tangent. But yeah, I hope to do more of these. If you enjoy these kind of videos, let me know down below. Hope y'all enjoyed. Thank y'all for watching.